out. We'll kind of leave on that note, but before I turn the time over to Paul Herndon and our program today, is there anything that we need to mention before we start? All right, Paul.
When I found out it was my program, I thought I'd contact the police department, so I called the chief. And they said, we got a new public affairs officer, Officer Casey. And so he's like, well, what would you like us to speak about? And I had a particular person in mind, but I think he's in more pain now than if we tased him. But I was gonna tase the mayor. They said, absolutely not. Anyway, I'd like to welcome Officer James Casey.
Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all letting me come up here and speak. I am the new public relations officer for the Gilmer Police Department. That's kind of a new position for our department. But when I was asked, when Chief Davison took over, what I thought we could improve on with the police department, first thing I said was we need to be out in the community. We need to have people see us and let them see that we are human beings just like everybody else. We're not just here to make their life different, you know. So anyway, that's how I got this position, and I've really enjoyed it. I've gotten to go to some events and everything. Just had a great time. I do love Gilmer. This is my second stint to work for the Gilmer Police Department. I was here in 2008 to, I think, 2012. Some unfortunate incident happened in my life. It sent me back to Gray County. But when I decided that I needed to get back into law enforcement, Gilmer was the place. There's just no question. I love it here. I love the people. I grew up here. I got family and friends. So it wasn't a difficult decision, but I do thank y'all for allowing me the opportunity to come speak. Now, what I'm gonna be speaking on today is the advantages of using the taser as far as law enforcement is concerned. And yes, Mayor, it was a definite no. I will not jeopardize my employment with Gilmer PD or the city of Gilmer at all. So anyway, but the advantages of the taser technology has dramatically reduced the injuries to not only law enforcement, but also to the suspects that we deal with. There's 11,000 law enforcement agencies right now that are using the taser as part of their de-escalation. And when using the taser, there's a certain, within 10, 15 feet, you get that good circulation when you use it, and it does subdue the suspect. But if we get any closer than that, and I'll demonstrate this later, we don't use the prongs. What we do is what we call a dry stun. Same effectiveness, but not there's no entry wounds or anything like that. There's no other use of force that has undergone the scrutiny that the taser technology has, and it's been tested both by the medical professions, law enforcement professionals, and even our good friends down there at Amnesty International. But the risk that of anyone sustaining life-threatening injury is low, very low. But it's not at all a magic bullet by no means. I mean, there's still going to be incidents where it's not going to work properly, or it will cause some type of fatal, outcome, depending upon what the subject, may have ingested into his system. And, but when it's used properly, the medical and the law enforcement experts have concluded that the taser technology is the most effective use of force invention available to law enforcement to halt violent situations that pose a safety threat not only to us as officers, but to the community and to the suspect as well. And there have been there's thousands of documentations on this that Taser has kept up with, and you know, as I said, it's not a magic bullet, but a 94% success rate is better than none, most that we do have. So, and on June the 28th of 2006, Taser International issued a training board. We all have to be trained to use the Taser. They just don't hand it to us and say, go out and, you know, play. We do have to go through that. Now, do we have to be tased to carry the Taser? The answer to that, technically, no, we do not. But as I was saying earlier, if you're in a room full of other officers and everybody else is getting tased, and you're sitting back over there not getting tased, well, then your credibility is gonna go down a little bit. You're gonna get razzed about that for sure. But the media, however, has managed to misrepresent this common sense guideline into the essential misleading headlines that could seriously avert effects on the safety of law enforcement officers and the citizens. Statistics from the agency after agency show beyond a shadow of doubt that an officer armed with a taser is far less likely to be injured than without the taser. Amnesty International, who I brought up just a while ago, they did a study, and in custody deaths are tragic. They are. You don't want that. You don't want that close to departments or your city or anything, but it has occurred long after Taser International came onto the market. Nearly 10 years ago, the public, as well as police critics, were debating a nearly identical argument concerning the custody deaths and pepper spray. So anything we use that's is being used to be criticized. I mean, there's nothing that, like I said, there's nothing that we're gonna carry or do as far as our job is gonna be 100%. There's always gonna be flaws. We're human. These tasers do fail. We have to be prepared for that. And I also want to add in here as well, the taser is never our first option. I mean, we have other training that we, you know, with our mouth, soft hand approach. I mean, there's other avenues that we take before a taser is ever taken out of the holster. But Amnesty International studies on taser devices tend to be nothing more than clippings from the newspaper, but they don't document what the suspect may have or may have injected prior to that. And there is effects that the taser. When I worked in the jail at Perry County, we had one guy in particular, and he was mentally challenged, but he was very violent, especially when he was on drugs. And he would come into the jail, and he would always come in fighting. The taser was deployed. He was hit with the prongs. He has ripped the prongs out of his body and threw them right back at us and laughed. Now, you know, those, like I said, there are going to be some people, just like the pepper spray doesn't affect everybody, that, you know, we have to assess for that, because if they're not fazed by stuff like that, then, you know, we got to move on to other measures. But when it does work properly, they are subdued. And we are able, I mean, it's a 5-second ride. That's gonna put them to the ground. We're gonna be able to cuff them and get them into the car. That's all we're looking for. And I've been certified with Taser since 2007, and I've used it one time. So, like I said, it's not our first option. Never our first option. I'm sure y'all have seen the videos of people being tased, and it's not fun. It is not fun. I tried to get volunteers to come down here today and just let me dry stun them, and they wouldn't do it. Because once you've done it, you don't want no more of it. And I think a lot of our success with the tasers is just being visible. You know, and people see it on our gun belts, and they know that that could be their outcome, you know, so. But with anything, just wanted to touch on our city policy that we have and our police policy that we all are required to do in-service training on this. We are all, every officer there at Gilmer PD has been trained with the taser, and I recommend anybody getting in law enforcement to do so. And I do recommend everybody to be tased. I honestly do, because if you're out there on the streets and you tase somebody, you know, you've done seen a room full of people go through this. So if you see something that you didn't see in that room, you know something's wrong, and you got to quit, you know, and get the proper medical team down there to assess. So I do encourage that. I will say I am pro taser. I do believe that, like I said, it's a great tool to have on our belts. One of the things I'm going to do in closing, I'm going to go on and show y'all how this operates. We've got these levers back here, and when we, I'm not going to point at nobody, but anyway, we turn this thing on, you can see that red dot right there. And that right there is, you know, I'll be honest with you, there's some people that has done this and just seen the red dot, and it's got them to the ground without even going any further. But as I was talking about earlier, instead of using the prongs, and that's what this is, that's what this cartridge is right here. When it's deployed, the prongs come from here and out into the suspect. But if we're too close and we can't get a shot on the suspect, it's still turned on. We still do have the red dot there, but we can go up and put it on any part of the body that we need to, and administer it, and that's 5 seconds. But when you're the one that's on the wrong end of this thing, it's like 5 minutes. So, but anyway, I do thank the Gilmer Police Department and the city of Gilmer for allowing us to use these, because these are very effective. And, do I have any questions?
What's the effective range?
The effective range, you want to be within 0 to 35 feet. And we try not to get, you know, because of now, you know, probably about 15 feet back or so is a good kind of area to, but once you shoot the prongs, you're going to get what I usually one here, maybe one in the leg, and it's a circular, you know, type current that goes through. Another thing that we also have to contend with is clothing, because the clothing people wear is the Carhartt jackets and stuff like that. We're not going to penetrate the jacket into the skin, so that's all taken into consideration. And if we did have to use that, that's probably where we're going to have to get a little bit closer. We're going to have to go in with the dry stun maybe in the areas of their leg. You're still gonna get the effect, and they're still gonna feel it, for sure. Anybody else?
Yes, as you said, they go down, but they like gently go down.
No, not all the time. They don't go, they, like a tree, and they go down. And that's another thing that as an officer, you know, you only got a few seconds to make decisions a lot of times when you're in those situations. But your environment plays a role in that. You know, you don't wanna take somebody that might fall off, you know, an embankment or something to that effect. But you still got to de-escalate the situation at the same time. So all of that's kind of factors.
What if you and your partner have a hold of the guy and you decide to tase the guy?
If we both have a hold of them,
Or he does?
Are you gonna get it?
no, he will, once he says taser, 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 I'm backing out, because I know that taser's gonna get, you know,
But if you were holding on to him, it would.
I'll probably feel some of it. He will feel the brunt of it for sure, but yes, I'll probably feel some of that too. I've never had that situation ever come up. In the jail, they've had where they dogpile people, you know, and then somebody's reaching their hand into the nearest hole, you know, to get down there to them. I never had anybody say that, but yeah, and that's also, I should have touched on too, because once we deploy this, once we aim it, we're fixing to pull the trigger, we holler taser, taser, taser 3 times. That's for this, like Mayor was saying here, you know, if I didn't know that that's what he was fixing to do, I wouldn't know, you know, and he can get me, you know, if I don't get out of the way. But also, it lets the suspect know you're fixing to be tased, you know, so. Anyway, it's just part of the training guideline that they've given us to go by.
Once you use that cartridge, is that over with, or do you reload it, or?
It's over with. What we do is we have to, fill out a use of force, sheet, and we send the cartridge back to Taser International and them. But yes, we have to replace that. Yes.
You ever pull your gun out, your taser out and then not use it?
Oh, yeah, Like I said, sometimes you can just get that red dot, but like I said, I've only used my taser the one time that I've actually had to engage, you know, everything else has been, you know, thank God for that, you know, thank God.
Is Taser a brand name or?
Yeah, well, this one right here is made, well, this one here is made by Taser. And it's with Taser International too, the guy with.
Then there was like a lot of talk about where to put it on your belt in relation to, your service.
You wanna have it opposite of your duty weapon, for sure. There was an unfortunate incident, I believe it happened in Minnesota some years back, where the officer had it on the same side and he pulled his gun instead of his taser and shot an unarmed suspect in the back. So, yes, this is the way to carry it, you know, you have to.
The prongs that you shoot somebody with, are they still like fish hooks? You have to get
Yes,
them out
sir.
of there?
Yes, sir, and usually we may leave them in until we get to the jail and have medical staff remove them, or we'll call the EMS to come down there and pull them out.
In Texas, is that the way it's supposed to be, the EMS removes it, or the medical people?
Technically, yes, you know, depending upon, situation and how long we've got, you know, I mean, we don't want no more, nobody in pain no more than they have to be, but usually, you know.
So they don't have to, it's okay.
Yeah, oh yeah, we could, you know, but we usually get, EMS or somebody on scene, or we'll go down there to the jail and just have a nurse, somebody from the medical staff there.
Does it still shocking them while it's still in
Oh,
there?
no ma'am, once that, and we get them arrested, in cuffs and in the backseat of the car, we reholster this, I mean, the cartridge is still out, but, you know, most of the time, we already have EMS somewhere around, you know, that they can come out there and do it, and then, like I said, in some instances, we just we've done it, you know.
So if you haven't used yours but once,
Yes, ma'am.
how long is that good for?
That we all, now, that was.
Used it.
Yeah, this one, the batteries are real new as. When we come in to work, what we do is we'll take that cartridge out, and we've got a, light back here that's, gives us our battery life on it. But we also do that just to make sure it is working. Yes, ma'am.
I don't ever want to get tased.
No, you don't, it's fun watching other people get tased, but it's not fun watching.
You said Taser's not really your first line. What is
Yeah.
your first line?
Vocal, try to talk, you know, and we just go through our de-escalation guidelines, you know, and usually Taser is probably administered after we go in and we try to hand restrain somebody or try to gain control of that person, and they start fighting and resisting, and, you know, that's when we start with the taser. That's when we go to Taser.
If it doesn't work the first time, you give up. You hear people that get tased 6 times by 6 different officers, you know?
Yeah, I don't know, but, I mean, if the Taser does not work, and there have been malfunctions, the guy's gonna probably more likely continue to come on, and you're just gonna probably have to go hands at that time. Hands on, until somebody gets there with maybe their Taser, you know.
At what speed does that cartridge fly out at?
Oh, I have no idea, sir. I couldn't answer that. But it's quick. I mean, as soon as we pull it, it's there. That guy's, he's down within seconds. But I'm not sure of the speed.
You pull the trigger or anything, once you fire that thing, it does its thing.
It does its thing, yes. All I do is pull the trigger, and, for 5 seconds, it's doing, you know. Yes, sir.
Do you aim?
Yes, ma'am. As best as I can.
Hello.
Hey, I told people, I said, look, I said, you know, police officers are not the best shots. And I'm gonna tell you, if you stand still, you got an opportunity to make you get out of here, okay? But you get to bouncing around, I'm gonna hit you. If you get to moving, you're gonna get hit with something. But, yeah, we do aim. Just, you know, just put that red dot where you're going, and that's where the heart will be. Yes, ma'am.
So it's not gonna, like if you shoot them in the heart, it's not gonna kill them or nothing?
No, ma'am.
Maybe.
Well, it could, but yes, there's always that possibility, yes, ma'am. But when I was tased, that's where it hit me here in the leg. And, yeah.
So the prong goes out and just goes.
It's just like
shoots
that,
out?
yes, ma'am.
Let's just demonstrate it.
No. Unless you wanna volunteer.
What if one prong misses?
Sir,
What if one prong misses?
one prong misses, it's not gonna be effective because the current it's not cycled. That again would be just like if it just malfunctioned, at that point, we're gonna have to go to a different, you know, more hands-on, you know.
We'll be personal to the next time, in other words,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. But even if it does miss and you're having to go hands-on, you can still pull that cartridge and start dry stunning at that point.
And that doesn't have any problems with that, that's just contacts.
It's just contact, yes.
How effective are those little, $24 tasers that you can buy online?
You can keep somebody off of you with those things, yeah. Yeah, now, it's not this, but you give somebody, you know, it'll shock them, it'll keep them off of you. I don't really know what the number is on that, but, yeah, you can fight them off. And I don't know, you know, the closest that I've been able to explain it was, and I, like a lot of y'all, grew up here in Gilmer, and this area, and we got farms and stuff, and how many's touched an electric fence? Yeah. It's just not, it's not the burn, but that's about as close. How many's touched it twice? Yeah, cattle farm, yeah. That was- Any more questions?
Yeah, I got a
Yes, sir.
I didn't really catch on enough to know what a taser is. If anybody's in a hurry, they can shut me up, but the engineer wants to know how something works. In other words, all the impression I got so far is that you're trying to put two fish hooks into one body.
Yes, sir.
That's what you're trying to do.
Yes, sir.
Thing looks like a fish hook. Well,
Yes, sir.
That's enough to make sense.
Mhm.
Now, how deep does it go in the body roughly?
It's not even, depending upon your distance, and that's why I said it's best to be back a little further.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter where it goes.
You're not even going in an inch. I
Yeah,
mean,
so
it's
it
just-
doesn't matter whether it goes in an eighth of an inch or quarter of an inch or something. In other words, it's gotta get in the skin,
Yes,
and
sir.
it's gotta be two of them,
Yes, sir.
and then it's electric. In other
Yes,
words, there's nothing chemical or strange about it except electricity.
Just that electricity, yes,
Where's
sir.
that electricity coming from?
The battery.
It's wired, there's a wire that runs out to it.
Yeah.
A wire runs with that
Okay,
fish.
so it's a,
Yeah, oh, yes, sir. Yeah, there's wires that come out of that.
okay, so it's got a wire attached to it, and then energy's gotta go down the wire,
Yes, sir.
and then the energy goes through. Okay, that's answering my question. I wanna know how this thing
Yeah.
works. And
Come on up here, Liz, we'll show you.
show me the door. Yeah, so I'm a kind of a docile person as far as, I don't wanna get into no fracas, you know what
Yes.
that's. We got people out here that's crazy enough to wanna get into a fracas. I don't know whether they're crazy because they grew up crazy, or they drank too much of something, or they ingested some kind of chemical that screwed up their mind. In other words, they're wanting to fracas. If you stop me on the road and you say, whatever you say, I'll say, yes, sir.
Yeah.
In other words, it's gonna be easy. But for some of these fools, it's not easy. So all I'm doing is just giving you a little bit of my philosophy, I guess, is working thing.
Yeah.
I appreciate your work and the people that are trying to deal with this, because the way I'm looking at it, you guys are trying to save the life of this fool that's already messed up his life, and he's got to mess up somebody else's life.
Yes. Yes.
And so, I appreciate the difficulty of your job, because somebody has made your job, one, to save the life of this guy that wants to fracas. And so the way I see it, every time this fracas comes along, and it gets really bad out of hand, if you don't save his life, you did me a favor.
Well, the preservation of life is always a top priority for anybody in law enforcement. You don't want to have to
Yeah,
go through that, for sure.
so it is difficult.
It is.
And I pray for you guys every day. And the rest of the people too.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
It's always a pleasure to have you guys here. One of the many, many blessings about living here is our local law enforcement. I know as a kid, especially looking back now, it was great to live in a place where they could call your dad or tell you to go home, but I mean, where you're a face and an individual, and where that works both ways. And I appreciate so much Lana and Casey and all our department, the approach that they're taking now to be a part of the community, to be a lot more visible, to get to know the citizens on a very real way, and see them everywhere I go, and I'm very appreciative of that, and the job that they do. Makes our amazing little town even better. Thank you all. just some upcoming dates, before we close.